Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Ocu Films. My name is Arthur Grigorian. I'm a Los Angeles-based cinematographer and gaffer, and I run a grip and lighting company called Ocu Lighting and Grip. And today, we are doing a review of one of my new favorite lights, the Godox F800R. If you're like me, a cinematographer and gaffer, you know how crucial versatile lighting is on set. I've always been a huge fan of the 4x4 form factor, especially for indoor applications. A good 4x4 setup delivers a soft controlled light with beautiful texture and a pleasing eye light. Traditionally, to get this kind of soft control light, we'd build out a setup with a 4x4 light grid and egg crate. Then we would bounce a panel into an ultra bounce. Then we have light flying everywhere, so we have to surround the whole thing with ultra bounce floppies. Before you know it, our AD's over there having a minor panic attack, and we've swallowed up half the room. It's a solid method, but it takes up space, time, and crew power. And in comes the Godox F800R, a one-unit solution that promises the same level of results without the need of extra hands or time. Plus, the lightweight design makes it perfect for rigging on boom arms, menace arms, and even to the grid without the need of bulky softboxes. And on top of it all, Godox boasts 800 watts of light output, which opens up so much more possibilities. So let's dive in and unbox this thing and see what we get out of the package. We have a compact, foldable 4x4 frame. So you loosen these both knobs, you slide this over, you lock this guy in. All right, so now we have the centerpiece. One thing that I didn't fully like so much is if you just go off of the Junior, you can't really articulate it. One solution I came up with is I get a double-ended baby pin. So one problem with this method is I don't like the screw that comes to lock in the baby pin. I don't think it's the safest. It feels a little plasticky, but you know, the whole frame still spins around. I wouldn't feel safe having this method over Talon's head. What I did was I built my own frame with a baby pin that's already pre-built. Here we have our light mat. Feels pretty sturdy and it's waterproof. How you get it onto the frame is you have these clips. And this is where I think you need two people to help, because you start doing this by yourself, and especially on this frame, if I let go, this whole thing wants to spin off. And I like to put this in and lock it in place so it's not dangling about and getting in the way. You still don't want to over tighten. You want to keep it a little loose because our next step is adding the softbox. One thing about the softbox itself is we have one line of stitching here. So you want to be kind of careful. Sometimes I see my crew ripping this thing downwards. So this part has already come off. You want to have two people doing this. The diffusion came in a plastic bag which immediately tore, so I got one of these. The egg crate's build quality is pretty impressive. It feels very sturdy. One thing about the ballast, I wish a Mayford clamp of some sort was included with this. We have the power cable and we have the header cable. I like how they have these clips in so you can't physically plug this in unless if you're in this slot. That's a good safety. I like the type of cable they're using. It's not that PVC type of cable that's very rigid and hard and it bends into one shape and you can never rebend it. Power on. Already at 5%, we're looking a little bright. Now we have the different modes. We have CCT, HSI, RGBW. One thing about the dimming curve, I think from 0 to 0.1%, I think it goes too bright. So the low end dimming curve isn't the greatest, but most of the time I'm using this light for the brute output of that 800. So if you could keep your exposures the same, we could go to 100%. That's 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100%. That is a lot of light. This is a f/16 at an ISO of 250. And this is how much light you're getting out of this guy. It's very impressive. Even at different colors where you're not using all the diodes, this thing still gets really bright. It's one of the first lights that comes out of the truck every time. I always have it built, whether I use it or don't use it, I want to have it there. There's some things that I could change for this, but for the price range that you get this unit and the amount of output and benefits that you're getting from this unit, I really can't complain much. They do have a really nice blow up diffusion that has an egg crate that slips on really easily. So if this takes too much time, I Velcro the diffusion on, and I pump that thing up and it's ready to go much faster than two people fighting to get this softbox on there. And now I'm gonna take you behind the scenes and show you how we use these lights, why we use these lights, and why these lights are a game changer. So here we have a setup where we wanted to shoot our subject in pretty much dawn hour, where you have that beautiful teal, cool skylight with that really warm, reddish, pinkish sunlight. So what we did here was we set both of the 4x4 Godox lights above a 12x12 frame. And because they're lightweight, we were able to get away with two C-stand arms. And one side was our blue sky teal light, and the other side gave us the warmth of the sunset. So we had our subject in the center, and we essentially wrapped our skylight around, and we got this really beautiful soft key light over our talent that matched the background. This setup wouldn't really be possible in this way with your typical fixtures, harder fixtures. They would have been a more of a setup to achieve something that we achieved with 2 units. So let's go through and look at another setup. We were shooting in this reading room where we had these really nice, beautiful big windows. I proposed to the cinematographer, based off of the references we were looking at, we want to go for this sort of a Pan's Labyrinth soft moonlight look. So what we did here is we had 2 4x4 Godoxes on a triangle truss maker goalpost, and we positioned that around this big window, and we were able to get this sort of a sourceless moonlight look, very soft, very pleasing for the skin tones, and it was essentially a pretty easy setup. You know, we didn't have to build frames, and we didn't have to keep our stands out of the shot. It was lightweight enough where we were able to go to a 24-foot goalpost, and it worked pretty well here. So another setup, same location, and again we're going for this like softer. We don't want pings in the hair light. We don't want these like highlights. So here we have a pool party, and we trickled our lights around and we gave it our base look of the party scene, but we wanted to wash this whole colorful world with a more of a neutral tone, which is our moonlight. And we were able to find some areas above this hill where we could just fit one combo stand if it's slimmed up. We were able to put one stand, one Godox, and we were off to the races. Without these lights, you know, something like this would have been like, hey, let's throw an ultra bounce up there and we'll find another space to put another light and like bounce it into the ultra bounce. And then, you know, now we have the lower light in the shot, or, you know, it would have been a more complicated setup. Owning a 4x4 softbox light fixture made this setup possible because of the lack of space that we were working with. This one, we're shooting in a studio, and we want a, you know, softer key light to roll around with us and reach over the dolly, and we could get it in position and get it closer to our subject without rolling a physical stand in. So we put a single 4x4 Godox F800 on a shotgun menace arm that lived on a super crank. We were shooting in different areas of the space. So like the subject is here, and then the subject is gonna go 20 feet this way for another setup, and then we're gonna go to this blue screen area. So having the 4x4 on a shotgun menace arm, we were able to just rotate this thing around, and we had a soft light everywhere we went, and we were out of the camera's way. This setup worked pretty well here, and we were able to toss an egg crate on so we're not spilling on the blue screen, and we made our day, and the client was very happy. Here's a setup that these 2 units work really well, and this is one of my favorite ways of using this, especially on stage days. We put 2 4x4s side by side to get a 4x8 soft key light on a Menace Max arm. We're shooting in a green screen stage, and we have cubicles everywhere, and we're shooting in this cubicle, and we're going and shooting in that cubicle. We wanted to have a soft key light that can move with us anywhere we go without having to wrangle cable, move in a stand, and these areas were pretty tight, so we weren't able to physically bring anything in except if it was hovering over the cubicles or pushing in different ways. This setup worked really well And we were able to shape our light and like set it in, like angle our light in any way we wanted by just moving our Menace Max in, and you have a beautiful 4x8 soft light that could key your subject in any occasion, in anywhere in this entire 60x60 stage. Here's another setup where we did the Menace Max with the 4x8 setup with the two Godox F800Rs. We went pretty crazy with our space station sky panel spinning gag, and we wanted another touch of key that we can move around and use as an eye light. Here we went with the same Menace Max with two Godox F800Rs. And it was really nice because we were out of the way from the techno crane, we were out of the way from like the camera monitor and like the camera team, and like everybody was crowded around, and we were able to just boom our 4x8 Godox F800R over the crowd, and we were able to position it in anywhere we wanted. It was super fast, super efficient, and we get the same nice soft quality of light throughout the entire shoot, and that's it. And worked out really well. Everybody was happy. So that's all for today. If you like this type of content, you can find us on Instagram at OcuFilms, or our grip and lighting company Instagram at OcuLighting. I'll post both of those links down below, and I'll see you on the next one.